All right, so let's get to it, shall we? Here, as the keenest of observers might have already taken notice, we have one of the most regular and ordinary of kitchen knives the money can buy. And with this ordinariness naturally comes the most barest of uses and functions and features that it can lend us while we are performing our everyday tasks and duties, such as cooking, woodworking, or mugging, etc. What these uses and features basically come down to is the function of cutting things, of separating or dividing things up into manageable portions, parts, and pieces. A quick demonstration should suffice in elucidating this highly complex and mysterious phenomenon in practice. Here we have yet again the most ordinary and commonest of things that we can run into on our shopping trip, for instance, an apple. Now, here's the scenario. You've invited a friend over to enjoy dinner with you into the middle of Sahara, for desert instance. Unfortunately, you only have got but one apple to spare for both of you, and you're both feeling quite famished. You could just eat the fruit all by yourself, but considering that you invited someone to dine with you and there's really nothing else to offer him, it would be very rude of you, and you wouldn't want to treat a dear friend of yours like that, now would you? Luckily, your friend brought along with him one of these things. So now you can have both an equal share of the apple by dividing it into two parts from the middle. Observe. Now both of you get their fair share of the apple. But we could complicate things just a little bit further. We could say that out of your absent-mindedness, you forgot that you had in fact invited two more of your friends over for dinner. You've already cut the apple into two pieces, and you can't just not offer the new guest some of the apple, because not doing so would be considered rude. And yeah. So what to do to get yourself out of this predicament? Well, the answer is ingeniously simple. We can take the two pieces, okay, press them together, and now instead of cutting them horizontally, we cut them vertically, so that we end up with 4 pieces in total. Glorious, isn't it? Okay, so now that we have a clear picture of what we can do with a simple knife in practice, and we've covered some of the basics, we can move on to something more advanced. As we've clearly demonstrated already, knives have a specific use that they were designed and intended for. Cutting, that is. If you want to get real technical about it, there are various ways of cutting up things like chopping, mincing, slicing, dicing, cubing, carving, trimming, shaving, and so on and so forth. But these very specific ways of cutting are somewhat inconsequential to the point we are trying to make here, as they all share more or less of the same fundamental principle. Additionally, what we are interested in here is not the actual physical knife in itself, but the function symbolically embodied by and within the knife. Basically, we are trying to extract this abstract kind of property out of the knife and turn it into something more, a general kind of ideological tool, if you will, with the use of recursive thinking. Yeah. Think of it like cutting the function of the knife out of the actual knife itself by using another knife. But then what can we do with this general notion that we've successfully abstracted from the knife? Well, the more appropriate question, I would say, is what can we do? However, I won't be going into any great detail here. Suffice it to say that our intention is to apply this allocative function to ourselves in order to intensify our lived life by giving each of our psychological functions the fair share of room within our psyche. I'll leave the rest of it for you to figure out on your own accord, or at the very least until the next post.